Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to talk about asset protection and fire insurance. Coming up. Hi everyone, this is Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy, and on this channel, we give you health and wealth tips to help you be successful. Now, I just had something happen about 5 days ago here. As you can tell, the walls here are all burned on this building. I had just taken a flight to Alaska, Anchorage. It was about 2 in the morning. I had just arrived. My car had just come to pick me up. I had been there maybe 20 minutes, and I get a text. Hi Ernesto, did you know your house is on fire? I'm sure someone already told you, and I hate to repeat myself if someone already told you, but your house is burning. And I said, no, nobody told me. So the first thing I did was I texted the tenants and I said, was it a cigarette or a candle? Because I wanted them to admit, if they did the burning, to admit to it. And apparently one of them did immediately. She said, yes, it was me. I lit a candle. I'm really sorry. I burned your house. I'm freaking out. Okay. So at least you get some type of admission. That may help further on down the line, but you just want to make sure you cover your bases. At this point, it's early on, and the tenant already admitted to burning the house down with candles. As a landlord, I'm learning some very interesting things. Now, this is my second fire, and a fire is a very complicated process. A lot of things come into play. First thing that's going to happen, your phone is going to blow up with text messages, phone calls, and people going to my parents' house and other houses knocking and just trying to find the owner of this building. There's people called public adjusters. They have an app that immediately sends them a message when there's a fire anywhere in your city. As they get the message, they'll race to the house. I know in one property where we had the fire before, they got there before the fire department got there. I have no idea how. The guy must have been down the street, but he got a message and he got there immediately. And we were coming out of the house all shocked with the fire, and this guy was patting us on the back and saying, are you okay? Can I get you anything? Let me get you some water. And I thought, wow, what a nice guy. I didn't recognize him. I thought, is this one of my neighbors? Like, who is this? So nice. And he was asking us, like, what can I do to help you? Or, you guys hungry? Can I do this? Can I get you a hotel? And I thought, wow, are you from the Red Cross? No, he's a public adjuster. And what they do, everybody has a role, right? So everybody, there's good and bad about everything. So I'm not saying that they don't have an important role, and in some cases they do, but in my case, I don't really need an adjuster. Most people probably don't. You're going to work with your insurance, and you're going to resolve your claim. If you run into any issues, then you can talk to an adjuster, you can talk to an attorney. Now, in this particular case, and in the previous one, I consulted with an attorney that's an insurance specialist, and he coached me through what I needed to do. And basically it's very simple, and I'm going to walk you through what you need to learn so that you can handle these claims on your own. That's the idea. The first thing is you want to make sure that you protect your assets. Have good insurance. Now, we all know that it's a struggle to build up assets and to have anything in this life, right? You have to work hard for it. So you don't want it to all come crashing down in one night like this did. This house burned in like an hour. It was gone. You're going to have to totally wipe the place out. It's a 7-bedroom house with a huge basement. So it's lost because there's damage everywhere. Now, it took me about 6 months to rehab this place when I bought it. And it was a huge investment, a lot of people involved, a lot of things went into play. And all that work is gone, like in less than an hour. It was probably burning for 5-10 minutes, I would say, by the time the fire department got here and put it out. So these public adjusters are going to try to get you to sign up. They're going to say, hey, I'm from a construction company, I'm a public adjuster, I'm a fire specialist, whatever. They have different titles. And what they do is they basically take over your claim for you, and they deal with the insurance company. Now, you may be shocked and you might say, hey, I want that. But there's a caveat. They're going to take about 20% more or less from your bid. I'm going to get paid by my insurance $500,000 to fix this house. They would get $100,000 of my money just for sending paperwork back and forth and making a few calls. It's not a very good investment. You don't need that. If you're really not sure, go get an attorney. They'll do it for a couple of $1,000. Now, I got it pretty much free because I have a legal service. If you don't already have legal service, I recommend it. I use one called Legal Shield. They're about $30 a month, and basically you can call them as many times as you want. They'll open a claim, and you'll get to speak to an attorney who's a specialist in that branch of law, and they'll coach you on what you need to do for a fraud case or for someone not paying you money or whatever the case. And they'll even send out letters for you that will help you resolve your issues with people. It's very effective. Now, I called them for advice on the fire, and I also spoke to some other attorneys, and I did speak to some adjusters to get their input. I did not get anything that was of much value from the adjusters. And to be honest, I hired one on our first fire claim, and I negotiated down his percentage to about 3%, which was great. But I don't think I got anything out of that 3%. I talked to him a couple times on the phone. That was it. For the most part, it was my house, and it's going to be your house. So you're the one that's going to be, active and acting on your behalf. I was making calls. I was hustling, trying to get everything fixed and try to get the best prices and everything. So I didn't see any benefit from it. So as an investor, you want to protect your assets. Remember, it takes a lot of work to build this stuff up, and you can lose it really quick. So you must have an insurance agent. Sit down with them or go over it on the phone and make sure you have the proper clauses on your insurance agreements. So we have multiple properties that we manage, and we make sure that we do that. We go over the clauses. Those are important. So you can have insurance coverage on this house, which was the case on this house that got burned, but we had a whole page of clauses. Clauses are just basically statements. They're like just addendums, like on January 5th, 2018, this one sentence. On July 4th, 2016, this. And it just has little things on there. And one of those little clauses that we had was that the insurance would agree to pay for code upgrades. Now that's really important because this house is old. It's from 1908. So let's say it costs $300,000 to fix it. But then they start remodeling, they start fixing the roof, and the city says, hey, you only have 6-inch beams in the ceiling, and you need 8-inch ceiling beams now. It's changed since 100 years ago. So guess what? You're going to have to tear out all of the beams in the ceiling, not just the ones that were burned. You're going to take all of them out, and all of them are going to have to be replaced, and that's going to cost a lot of extra money. So that clause will help protect you from that. It's called code upgrades, because the codes have changed. They change constantly. In over 100 years, forget it. You wouldn't even be able to build this house at this time. No way. It wouldn't even happen because it wouldn't meet any of the requirements. It's too outdated. Another example is smoke alarms. If I have to change the smoke alarms, well, before you could just put a smoke alarm and you're good. Now they have to be synchronized. All the new smoke alarms, if it goes off in one room, it has to trigger all the smoke alarms on both floors of the building to go off. They have to be synchronized. So those are just some examples of some of the upgrades that have to be done. So you want to make sure you have that clause. You also want to have liability in case somebody gets hurt in the fire. What if somebody dies or something malfunctions? It's an electrical fire, the smoke detectors don't work or anything like that. You want to make sure you're covered. You also have instances where people make things up. We had tenants that admitted to the fire. The arson investigator reported it was the tenants, and then the insurance hired a private investigator, a third person, to, yes, it was a tenant that lit some candles and caused the fire. And then we got the tenants calling and saying, hey, you know what? The smoke detectors didn't work. And hey, I think it was a gas line. And hey, I think it was electrical, and all these different theories. Well, as far as I know, they're all in the movie industry. They're not experts in fires, but it's human nature. People panic, they don't know what to do, They don't want to get in trouble, so some people will try to make things up to escape from responsibility. So you want to protect yourself with that by having adequate amounts of insurance. If you don't have insurance, not only can you lose your house, they can also go after your other assets that you worked for. So this is a game of trying to keep what you have. Your whole life, you're going to have these obstacles. You're going to be going through like an obstacle course. Sure, you can go work, you can do businesses, you can sell property, you can buy houses, you can start .coms, you can do whatever you want. But it's a game of retention. How can you protect your assets? The number one way to protect your assets is having good insurance. Nobody likes to pay insurance. I know it can be expensive, but it's the only way you're going to preserve your assets. So if you have any questions, please comment below, and I look forward to answering your questions.